Oh.
Hey guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with Dan and Colin. We have Adriana with us tonight as well. Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Better alive than dead, I guess.
I mean, listen, sometimes, we're always laughing before the pod. Sometimes you got to tell a real story before the pod comes on. I don't know.
Instantly laugh right now.
Life doesn't care if you're ready for, a sad story or a happy story. You got to deal with it.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
We're all Giants fans here. We're all familiar with sad stories. At least in the last 10 years. Some happy ones before that, occasionally. Yeah. What's new with you guys? I went to the Bronx Zoo today. It was pretty sweet.
Nice.
It had like some animatronic dinosaurs and stuff, so that was cool.
I'm down.
Yeah, it's like a little dino safari.
Oh,
the daughter loved it. And then we saw the elephants and tigers and all kinds of
bears,
animals. Bears, yeah, I saw a couple bears.
See the gorillas?
Dingo, gorilla, yeah. Tiny monkey, flamingo. The flamingo was a big hit.
I hope the dingo didn't eat your baby.
Baby is still intact. In
Good.
fact.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I golfed today, and I use that term loosely. It was Ridgefield, Connecticut, and this is my third or fourth time this year going, which is the most consistent I've been, and it was still awful. Had a good time though.
It was a beautiful day to be outside. Either way.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
And I wasn't working, so I left working at 1:30. So that was great.
Not working's good. Dan, you're back in the homestead, I see.
Back in Jersey. Received a warm welcome when we got home on Saturday. The whole town was in, Main Street applauding my return.
Of course.
Yeah. It's been good to be home, I guess. The bed I slept in on vacation was unforgiving, and so my back is slowly recuperating.
Oh, was it too soft?
You know what? It was too firm. I usually like a firm mattress, but this one, I think, in conjunction with like a super hard pillow, just threw me out of whack. These bones aren't what they used to be, my man.
The older you get, the harder it is to like go somewhere else, and it's not your bed. It's just
insane.
like you just start falling into little pieces.
Yeah.
That's when I think I realized that I was like, wow, I feel like I'm getting old now. I was in New Jersey for the weekend at my parents' house watching my parents' dog, who's a nightmare. But I was sleeping in their bed, and I literally brought my own pillow from home because I was like, the bed is one thing, but I have to bring my own pillow now. Like this is who I am. I travel with my pillow.
That's smart.
Important.
That's smart.
Important. It's important. As usual, guys, please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow us at BBU Pod Boys with a Z. Pigskin Podnet at the Pigskin Podnet on Twitter. Don't forget to download that DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN. You can follow Adriana too here at NYG Fangirl on Twitter as well. And our sponsor this week is Drynxmyth. Drynxmyth. Get Drynxmyth.com right here, guys. So we all have our little. If you're watching on the street YouTube here, we all have our individual bottles. I got the strawberry mojito. Adriana has the rum punch. Colin, you got gin cucumber. Dan. You got the ginger drop?
Ginger drop, baby.
So this is a cool little product. They'll ship these right to your door. You can buy them in packages. It's basically pre-made mixed drinks using really high quality, fresh ingredients. And they actually have it separated. So the spirit is on top, the mixer's on the bottom. So you just twist it.
It's a really interesting. It's a good design idea. I feel like the plastic is very high quality. Like this seems like a bottle I want to keep for some strange reason. Like it doesn't seem cheap.
It's a little
Nice.
It's a little more durable.
Yeah,
it's trying to be like a.
It's making me feel like I'm pretty weak.
Well, the problem is
Okay,
you don't need to twist it too hard after pouring the first in. You think you have to crack it.
You don't really need to crack it. It just
no,
it's
you
already
just
open.
twist it literally a little bit and then re-pour it.
All right. And then I'm gonna pour it in this.
Oh, that's a cool contraption, man.
See this nice glass I have here. See the Taze Bar and Grill.
And it's it's not like a full super big glass of. I mean, it's a mixed drink, so obviously it's not going to be huge anyway. But
I did
Cheers,
bring it
guys.
back, and it says there's 2 servings in it, which is great.
2 servings.
Excellent.
16.
Cheers.
This one is 16%.
16.
yeah, that's tasty.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
That's
Mine's
You know what's
pretty
nice?
strong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what's nice
Ooh,
about that
baby.
is that a lot of these kind of pre-made, sort of not necessarily pre-made because this is you kind of pre-make it yourself and separate it. But a lot of those like cocktails you buy are not strong, but this is good. It has some bite to it. It's not overly sweet. Yeah, definitely nice.
I say that
this vanilla in it too. It's good.
This ginger drop is quite refreshing, and you can really tell that they, when they say they use fresh ginger and fresh lemon juice, like
you can taste
you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. I wish this was a way bigger bottle than it is.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'd say it tastes like a drink that you would make, TJ, but it's just not strong enough from your drinks usually. But that's that's neither here nor there.
That's I make them for you.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, but
I feel like they'd be really good. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In a blender with some ice mixed up.
Yeah.
Little
frozen
version.
I'm for
that
it.
Would be really good. Yeah, I mean, as someone who's made a lot of mojitos in their life, this one's good. I'm into it.
I'm definitely into it too. This is good. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right, guys, make sure you check it out. Drynxmyth.com. They got a bunch of cool stuff. This is just 4 of the different flavors they have. They have I think 3-4 times as many. I saw like a cool blackberry one. They got some margarita stuff on there too, spicy margarita, which look cool.
Nice.
Check it out. They'll ship it right to your door. Comes with a nice pack, so keep it cool and fresh. Check it out, Drynxmyth.com. Cool.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to
go, Dan. Go.
Oh yeah, if you were going to do it, I just wanted to shout out last week's pod. Again, we had Jason Reed from ESPN on, and we talked about his book, Rise of the Black Quarterback, and what it means for America. We basically had a sort of free-ranging, long conversation about black quarterbacks and black athletes in general in the NFL, and sort of where they've come from and where they are now, and what it means to the NFL, the sport, and also American culture at a greater level. Anyway, I'm just raising it to say that it was probably some of the best content we've ever had, and
Absolutely.
one of the more worthwhile listens. And it's an evergreen pod, so you don't have to listen to it this week or next week, but definitely check it out. And just wanted to thank Jason again, because he was a really great guest to have.
Oh, yeah, what a great guy too. I mean, it was such an easy, just flowing conversation. I mean, he went off. We gave him good questions too. I mean, he was able to do a lot with what we were throwing at him. So yeah, it was a good time.
Very, very well. I loved him before we interviewed him. I was like, "Is there anything that you want us to ask?" He's like, "Just ask whatever you want. Let's do it."
Yeah, I'm a writer.
Right
I'm going to have an opinion about something. So
I know he was great. I was really happy to have him on. Right on. Before we jump into the game, Adriana has been down in Jersey putting in all kinds of work. Training camp, Fan Fest. I saw you met Joe Shane. Can you tell us, some
how
of,
handsome
some
is
of
he in real life?
Yeah, some of the highlights.
I was like, wow, he is very good looking.
wow.
That's what I say every time I see him.
Yeah.
Is he tall?
He
Gotta
is. Yeah, but
At
not
least 6
that
feet.
tall. Like
At least
I'm
6.
5'4". He's probably like 5'11", I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. But he was great. So I was lucky enough to get 2 days of VIP tickets for training camp. And when you
Nice.
get VIP, aside from being cooler than everyone else, you get better access, obviously. So there's 2 different sides of where you can stand, and the players walk right through the middle. So if you have one wristband, you get to stay on one side. And if you have friends and family wristband, you get to go on both sides. But if you're on the friends and family side, which maybe I'll be lucky enough to get next year, some of the players actually walk right through there, which is pretty cool. But basically they walk right through between both sides and go out onto the field. So I had a really good view of a lot of the players coming out, and I still will never get over how big Evan Neal is. We knew how big he was going in, but to see him in person, he's a monster. He is absolutely huge. So I know he was having a pretty good camp so far. He's still working on some things, but I'm not worried about him in the slightest, and I'm really excited about him. But it was really fun to be there in person. I loved it. I would say if people were considering going to training camp next year, definitely get the tickets. You are in bleachers covered. So even though it was 95 degrees and humid every day, at least you're not out in the scorching sun. And they had like water bottles and refill stations and stuff for kids, all that kind of stuff. So it was great. I loved Fan Fest. That was a lot of fun. So this is where I got to meet Joe Shane. So I don't want to blow up my spot as to where I went after, but Julian Love was one of the first guys that came out. He was so nice. And this was my first time ever going over there. So it's kind of a little like, I don't want to be, like jumping and screaming at these guys. So Julian starts walking over and I was just like, hey, Julian, like, would you mind taking a picture? And he was like, sure, no problem. Came right over, nicest person in the world. So we waited for a lot of players. Jones came out. He signed every single person's autograph. He was amazing. Went down the whole line, kids, adults, everything. He was great. A lot of the guys who came out were really awesome. Like Leonard Williams and Wandel Robinson came out. They were high-fiving people. Tyrod Taylor came out. He didn't do autographs, but he walked right by. And then at the end, it pretty much ended with Dable and Shane, and they came over and same thing. And I said to Shane, because he came right up against the fence, and I was like, oh my God, what do I say to him? There's so many things I could say. But I think he signed my jersey or something.
Were you just like, Gettleman sucks, right? Yeah, he sucks.
I was like, don't blow it. What am I going to say? You know what? I go to Cape Cod a lot, and I am waiting for the day that I run into Gettleman. I always pack my Giants hat, and I'm on the beach, like literally looking for him. Yeah. Like I am going to blow up his spot so bad if I see him.
I think you got to look on the bay side. I don't think he's making it down to the ocean side on those dunes. He can't traverse that terrain.
Oh, absolutely not. He'd just fall down.
Roll down.
Yeah.
Can we bring up that article today that I sent you guys where the Broncos in 2018 were calling to trade up to number 2 to get Sam Darnold? They were picking 5, by the way, and Gettleman wouldn't even answer the phone. And the first thing I asked Dan was, what are the odds that you get Saquon Barkley at number 5 instead of number 2? And I think we all were just saying 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plus another first round pick.
Yeah.
Right.
Just, not that we should have picked Saquon anyway, but it just goes to show you how futile this whole effort was over the last 2 years. And that's such a great example of getting the guy that you wanted and not, even entertaining the idea of picking up draft capital in the process.
Well, and you think about that, and then you look at how our first round went this year, and it's just not even comparable. Yeah. Like we got the 2 best guys in the draft for our team, especially at both of our picks. Yeah. And he was not even willing to entertain it. I mean, it's just unreal.
It's
You
insane.
do have to thank him for that second first round pick, though.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, it's insane that information, which we already sort of knew prior to this, just being raised again makes me just as angry today as it did 4 years ago.
Same.
Just furious. Hate that guy's guts.
Yeah.
Even the whole Kenny Galladay thing. I mean,
I
have not. And I was arguing with someone because another Giants fan said to me, the only reason people are so upset about Galladay and calling him lazy is because Carl Banks said it during the broadcast of the game. And I was like, anyone who's paid the slightest bit of attention during camp has heard all of the reports that have come out that basically said that he's been useless. So Carl Banks adding fuel to the fire has nothing to do with everything that he's done up until this point.
It proves, and I mean, I time and time again, we've been talking about this, especially in the last couple of years, the divide in the fan base is just so insane at this point. And unfortunately, it all comes back to how ownership has kind of gotten us to this point, but we're all like eating at each other because of it. And you have these people that are, and as the 3 out of 4 of us know, going back many years, I was very blind to the reality of the Giants for a long time, and I have since.
We've opened your eyes.
No, you were slipping back into it when the new regime took over. But
absolutely not.
Then you watch some training camp and you're like, oh, okay, wait.
No, there's there's hope, and then there's like a positive feel with it back in my mind and deep down knowing that it's very possible we're gonna absolutely suck, and that's okay because you got to start from somewhere.
Let's jump into the game. I know we mentioned Galladay real quick, but what was your?
I wanted to ask Adrianus a couple more questions about training camp.
Yeah.
So you said you were up close and personal with a lot of the players, whether or not you get to speak to them, but you get to see them and get a sense for how they are. I imagine you see some of them on the sidelines, like however they interact with each other, and you were there for the sort of infamous fight that went down. When was that? Was that Friday or I don't know? No, well, it couldn't be Friday, but
I think it was on a Monday or Tuesday. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
because I was there both of those days. Before I talk about that, I do want to say that I did get to tell Shane. I told him that he killed it in the draft, and I was very impressed with his picks. And he was like, "Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think that." I was like, "Well, I hope it works out."
Yeah.
you can watch video of my reaction on YouTube.
Yeah,
right.
Imagine he watches this.
Oh my God, I would die. But yeah, so the fight, it seems like it came out of nowhere because the problem with camp is that you look away for 1 second and you missed it.
Yeah.
So I saw Saquon running that ball, but I didn't see him lower his shoulder into Robinson. So I see him running, I turn and look the other way, whatever. Another play or two goes by. And then the next thing I know, I see Feliciano on the floor. There's like guys running in from both sides. Like it totally cleared the bench. Bobby Johnson is grabbing one of the other coaches by the collars. I thought that he was going to take a swing at him. And then I see someone, I think it must have been Tay Crowder, because then I read the reports later. Here's the other problem. The offense and defense are both wearing the same numbers. So with some of the newer guys, I'm like, I see 46. I'm like, oh, that's Bellinger. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Bellinger. So I read later, and I think it was Crowder, but I see someone just literally punch someone in the head.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Well,
and then before I know it, literally everyone was on top of each other. Dable's like running to get in the middle and push people away. It was wild.
Well, we've talked about this many times, and in the article about the fight, they said it as well. These players like to punch helmets for some reason. Like they just start swinging at very hard helmet heads, and they think that's going to do something. I know it's the heat of the moment, and that's what ends up happening. But like, come on, what are you going to get out of this? You're going to punch a metal face mask or a hard plastic helmet. You're going to break your hand. That's stupid. But
I was worried that someone was going to walk away with some sort of issue, and like Feliciano getting dragged out. I was like, oh, this is what we need. Our like one and only center who is an official starter is going to get injured during camp. That's great.
I know it's hot out, and they're playing against each other all day, every day, and they're going to get heated. But like, I somehow, and obviously I have no idea what's actually going on behind the scenes. There might be guys that do not like each other on this team. We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know.
It happens every training camp.
Absolutely.
You know. I also had one last question. I've been sort of tracking the relationship between Wandel Robinson and Cadarius Toney. I'm not sure if Toney was there the days you were, but the Giants media page seems to like trying to stir up a little bromance going on. Did you see any wide receiver interactions, any camaraderie forming there?
I saw a lot of them practicing together. I saw that video too, and then I kind of thought back on it and was like, were they spending a lot of time together? Were they practicing? These
are the real answers we need.
I know. I feel like the biggest thing I saw was Saquon is really enthusiastic and hypes everyone up.
Nice.
Like I noticed that Gary Brightwell was getting a lot of reps during practice, and I thought that was interesting because we didn't see him a lot last year. Right. And I really liked him last year and thought that what I saw from him, maybe we would see him more. So I'm glad that these guys value him. But Saquon, every time he would have a good run, he'd be running, like he calls him GB, and would be like, great run, GB, like, good job, always motivating him. So I thought that was really nice. I think one of the days that I was there too, Eli was there. So I got to see him and Jones kind of connect as they were walking off, which I think was great too.
So would you say that for Dan, that Saquon Barkley is a really good locker room presence for
I
his team?
I was going to say that, you bum, you, oh.
100%. I think that he's, I would say between him and Jones, because I feel like they're the two longest tenured players there, besides Shep. But
would you say he's the highest drafted locker room guy in the history of the NFL? Because I probably would.
Yeah,
100%.
I think he also feels like he has so much to prove.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think he's always had that leadership thing, but I think he's kind of like, I need to prove that I'm a good player, but like outside of that, I need to prove why I should be here. And that involves being a leader and a captain and all of that other.
And I love that. Like if he didn't do that, he'd be so behind the 8 ball, and it would be like 1 foot off the team at that point. He wants to stick around. If he's going to get another contract, I mean, hopefully it's
Hopefully not.
with us, but but he's playing as if to try to stay here because he doesn't want to go anywhere else. That's clear. We'll see.
Yeah.
See what happens. And we'll get more to Saquon too. Let's jump into the game. Let's just get overall thoughts, guys. Colin, what did you feel about the game? What did you like? What didn't you like? We can go from there.
Well, I was talking to my dad about it the other day as we did our usual, post-game breakdown as father and son tend to do. And I think my favorite part about it, and there's plenty of negatives to come out, but it's the first preseason game. It's going to be sloppy, whatever. But love the running back play all around. Very direct, very no BS. Get down, north-south, run people over. And I feel like we've been seeing a lot of dancing in the last couple of years.
Yeah, Saquon was hitting the hole. And my man, I want to buy a jersey for my man, Gary Brightwell. You would think he was invading Ukraine the way he was rushing out there. But what comes back to me is the O-line really looked improved in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard they've had some struggles at practice. We've had some injuries with Lemieux, but Brendison came in and really stepped up from what we saw. And honestly, it just looked like all the running backs were getting holes. Saquon was hitting the hole. They were putting him in spots. They were calling runs that were good for him.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most impressive thing to me, was really the offensive line. I think really in the trenches on both sides of the ball, the Giants looked vastly improved. I realize it's a small sample size so far, but just from what we've seen real quickly with the first team, I mean, Jones had more time to throw than he's ever had.
The pocket existed.
For once.
Yeah.
The pocket existed. I mean, do you want to touch on Jones? I mean, 6 for 10, 69 yards. I don't think he really did anything to show us anything, but he didn't really do anything to hurt himself either.
Well,
Adriana, what did you think about Jones in this game?
Yeah, I think so. I saw a stat from Patty Traina that posted that PFF said he had an average of 2.47 seconds to throw, which is probably the most he's had in the last 3 years
Guaranteed.
or so. And I saw some graphic that showed how much space he had. I was like, wow, this must be nice. I feel the same way. I think at this point, so many people are hit or miss on Jones, and if he threw one interception, like that would be it. Everyone would be like, put Tyrod in, we're done with Jones, whatever. And I kind of just felt like he seemed like he was in control. I think he felt a little more confident than maybe he's felt during practice in the offense. And I just felt like overall he was okay. He was not great, not bad. And I think if every week he can get a little bit better, then I'll feel much better about him.
I wish Galladay would have caught that last ball, which was totally catchable. I think even though the TD didn't happen, I think everyone would have felt better if it did. And you might have feel that it did happen. But I mean, if you want to compare Jones to Tyrod, I don't know.
Well, Tyrod,
they're kind of similar.
Yes, but those extra plays that are not spectacular plays, but Tyrod was able to figure out that second, third read for that first down that maybe would have existed if I don't know if Jones would have seen it or if he would have forced the first pass or the first read, which he tends to do from time to time. He just seemed to get that like, all right, let me get out of the pocket a little bit and then dink and dunk. And it was smart.
What scared me was when Jones was in that play action pass to Jeremiah Hall. I forget it was on the first or second drive. He just missed him behind over his head. I didn't see Tyrod Taylor make a throw like that. And this is to a guy who's wide open. When you see things like that, it gets me worried to a degree.
Yeah. My question to you guys, as always, is from now until proven otherwise, is not so much what is Tyrod better at. It's what can Daniel Jones do better than Tyrod Taylor? Like what area is he better?
He's probably faster than him as a runner.
Yeah, but I don't want to see Jones just going to the scramble right away. I think that
also don't
maybe
know.
Jones is faster, but Tyrod can probably move the pocket around better just, from the fact that he has more experience. We did see Jones bootleg out a couple times with varying degrees of success, but to me, I mean, the sample size was larger for Tyrod during this game than it was for Jones, but I can't necessarily say that Daniel Jones is going to be a better option for this offense than Tyrod Taylor at this point. But, I think Adriana's right too. It's early. I think there's a lot of time to stack more good days, as Dave likes to say. But I don't know where this team's going to go at quarterback, and I'm curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's not a QB competition. No one's ever said that, but I mean, officially it's not. But the fact that you see a way that we might get there sooner than later is a pretty.
Well, I mean, for one thing, I mean, I don't know if you want to read too much into it, but at halftime when Shane was doing a little bit of an interview with Carl Banks and your boy Bob Popper, that
was so nice that they did the broadcast too.
I loved having that.
Yeah, I wish they could do that.
They're the absolute best. I love them all the time. They should do all Giant games forever, but that's neither here nor there. What I thought was interesting was, and I don't know if he meant to do it or if he didn't, but when he was asked about players that were carried over from the last regime and what you can build on going forward as the core, he mentioned Saquon, I think Blake Martinez, and a couple of other players here and there, and he did not say Jones. He outright didn't say his name. And I
remember that. Yeah.
Which is interesting. He could have meant it. That could have been like hey, Daniel, if you're going to hear this eventually, just know that we are not fully in your camp. You need to prove that you are worthy of keeping around, and here's your audition, basically.
That's particularly interesting because Saquon is on his last year of his deal and Jones is on his last year of his deal. So you can't really make an assumption that he was saying that Jones won't be under contract next year. Because if he mentioned Saquon's not under contract next year either.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, and there's been so much talk too about how Shane and Dable coming from Buffalo, that they don't pay for running backs either, that they're never going to put the type of money that Saquon's going to want for a running back deal. And when you look at all of the guys that we've seen so far, I mean, even someone like Joshua Corbin looks pretty good as a running back. Like, do we really need, when we have a decent run game right now, and we have a couple guys that we could put in there to work with the scheme, why, in theory, would they pay whatever Saquon's going to want for a long-term deal?
Well, I think they're hoping that he's going to be a running back / wide receiver straight up, which probably screws his chances of getting a big contract, or maybe doesn't.
I think the opposite. Isn't he like he's like the other flip of Deebo Samuel if he ends up catching a lot of balls? I mean,
would that be a possibility though? Is he more running back than wide receiver, or does he go more wide receiver than running back? That's the question.
Think if he catches a lot of balls, it's going to be very good for his pocket next year.
Yeah,
100%. And I think that the Giants could necessarily splurge if he's going to take, more of that all around weapon role.
Yeah,
I don't know, like a lot of players, who have really been able to do everything out of the backfield. Like maybe he has a skill set for, just hasn't stayed healthy. I think he just has to stay healthy because he looks healthy. He looks like he is running physically with authority.
The burst is back a bit, at least as from what we've seen.
I mean, whether or not it's for the Giants or for somebody else, if he stays healthy, he probably looking at a good payday for himself next year. You'd have to imagine anyway.
Someone will pay.
But I mean, I don't like when you look at all the running backs and everybody went. I mean, 6.8 yards for Antonio Williams, 5.7 a carry for Brightwell. Corbin, he only had 4 yards a carry, but
even
he looks more of like a third round, down back catching balls. Yeah, Platzgummer.
Hey, 3 plays. He got the last.
That was funny.
Those plays,
was funny because Dayball was like, it was like a peewee game. He's like, everyone made the trip. We just wanted to give everybody a chance to play. That's what he said. I love it.
Hey, if he's given the opportunity, let him do something with it. Who cares? It's fun to watch, at least in the preseason.
Yeah. Wide receivers, guys. Anybody impress you? I mean, we talked about Kenny. Really,
I mean, we could mention
looks like ass.
Yeah. I mean,
he does look like ass. I mean, besides the fumble from Colin Johnson, I think he had a great game.
I agree. Him and Richie James, I think, are gonna fight it out for Slayton's spot.
Yeah,
maybe even Galladay's at this point. I mean, but with Galladay's contract, I can't see. They have to play him. They have no choice.
Yeah. It's scary. Like,
trade him to the Packers.
They should. They should. If they could get anything for him, I think they should, because that contract sucks. I mean,
he'd love to go to the Packers too and try to attempt to stick it to the Lions twice a year, but he wouldn't.
He wouldn't go there.
No, he wouldn't actually stick it to the Lions. He would just suck out there.
I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers could probably make him pretty good.
Not if you're lazy and you don't have any separation from cornerbacks.
Jump balls.
I just don't think he fits in with what this team is trying to do. And when you looked at the play selection from the offense, it was a lot of quick stuff to build Jones's confidence. Stuff behind the line. I particularly love that one screen to Slayton because Evan Neal was running his tail off. Adriana just described how huge he was. He was halfway down the field, pushing dudes around. I love that. It was my favorite play of the whole game.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, though, about Galladay not being the type of wide receiver that this offense calls for, because Wandel Robinson, there was a lot of wide receivers on the board when we picked Wandel Robinson, and you couldn't think of a wide receiver more different from Kenny Galladay.
Yeah.
Him and KT, who they talk about are going to be such key pieces in the offense.
Exactly. George Pickens was there. They could have drafted him.
And if you need a tall guy, you need that tall guy for the jump ball. Well, then you pay someone very little, like a Colin Johnson, and then you use them for those situations, and then you're good. You save the money.
With your is he a true number one wideout? You're going to use your number one wideout, and you can't get him the ball, period. And he can't, he doesn't warrant a double team from anybody.
No.
His upside is Plexico with a bullet in his leg.
Oof. Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
What would be the best thing ever if they could trade Galladay, get his contract in the books, and then sign Odell. That'd be a
dream.
Yeah, and all the boomers in the tri-state area will just their minds would
disintegrate.
It would just
lose it.
Blow up.
We'd be able to buy season tickets again. It would be amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
They'd be burning season tickets in the street.
Yeah, I'd hear it from my dad. He'd give me some bull crap about how it's not a good thing, and it's just like, man.
If Andrew Whitworth believes in you, then I believe in you.
That's right.
Do you remember those videos of Andrew Whitworth talking to Odell? I mean, that was some really inspiring stuff.
Yeah.
I loved it. Should we move on, talk a little defense?
I just wanted to highlight the Darius Slayton thing, how they sort of showcased him early on in the game. Mm-hmm.
You think that's a trade bait?
Yeah.
There,
that's what everyone's saying, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think that it's an attempt to, get something back for Slayton rather than just cutting him?
What was it? Like 5 or 6 pretty positive plays. I mean, it's all he needed to do.
Yeah.
The game
17-yard screen.
The game of sweep, he didn't do anything with it. That 17-yard screen, again, was the best play of the game, I thought. They threw him one down the sideline he didn't catch. I mean, what are you really showcasing other than that?
Exactly what he is.
when you throw him the ball behind the line and like a well-done screen with athletic offensive lineman that he can gain 17 yards. I mean, there's players like that all over the league.
I'd like to note that Darius Slayton was often pointed to by people that supported Dave Gettleman as his ability to draft well, and as a late round draft pick, he was a gem. That was one of the number one things they pointed to.
Adriana, you mentioned already that you think Slayton might be out and Johnson might be in there. Do you definitely think Slayton's out, or do you think he does have a shot to make the team?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn because the way that Dable talked about him, someone asked, like, oh, I noticed that he was in with the 1s after being in with the 2s and 3s all practice. And he said something along the lines of, we wanted to kind of build his confidence up with that screen and get him in there. He was playing well enough with the 2s to put him in. And I don't know. Then I saw the whole thing about the trade bait and I was like, okay, that makes sense. I don't really see anyone trading for him, but I just think if you're looking only at their practice history and their stats, you would never pick Slayton over someone like Johnson or Richie James. Richie James has probably been one of the most consistent receivers out there, and I just can't imagine that they would pick Slayton over him. And Slayton's deal is only like $2 million this year.
And he's not a special teams guy. Richie James is.
Yeah.
Right. You can't use him for anything else.
Even Robert Foster had a couple plays that looked okay. I mean, I think the depth is there. I don't know if he's going to be here or not, but I think we mentioned before.
What is he, like a 6th round pick?
5th.
By
the way, did you guys see Richie James's hair?
No.
It's really bad. He's got those.
It's like purple on the end.
Dookie braids.
Oh.
Are they braided and purple with purple tips?
He's got those real big. He's got like 4 big.
Yeah.
Who we had another wide receiver.
He's like in Bad Brains or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
good, that's
Bad
good.
brains.
Oh man, you know what I forgot to mention earlier? When I was at the zoo today, I saw like a 13-year-old kid with a Pennywise T-shirt on,
No, I listened
Whoa.
to Pennywise this
and
morning.
I was like,
running.
nice shirt, man. He's like, thanks, bro.
I saw,
You did?
I
You
started-
shouted
oh,
out
yeah.
a 13-year-old?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was 6:40 in the morning. I'm listening to "Fight Till You Die" running around my neighborhood.
It's the best song to listen to when you
That
work
sounds
out.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's jump in the defense, guys.
Okay.
My favorite part was that Bill Belichick was sad that they blitzed too much.
I saw that. And I felt
Awesome.
really bad for him.
Yeah.
Get
Very
out,
bad.
man.
But I also was like, I can't believe you have the nerve to say that after you just absolutely destroyed Aaron Robinson every chance you got
Yeah.
the ball. Like, come on, we should be turning around and saying, oh, we're really upset that you destroyed our corner that we need to play
Yeah.
at an
You
elite
picked
level
on
this
our
year.
second guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was getting trounced on. He did not have a good game.
That
I think,
taunting call was BS.
Oh, that was
though.
awful.
yeah.
I was just like, or this is where the league is at now? This is what we're
Yeah.
doing?
Actually, my favorite part was that the call for unsportsmanlike conduct was the same thing that he did.
What?
So, like, Aaron Robinson went like this and, like, looked down. I guess because he looked down at the guy with his arms out.
Oh, and he
And then
said
the
something,
ref
though.
came in. He's like,
So
unsportsmanlike conduct. I
threatening.
was like, same thing.
He clearly said something, too, and I think if he didn't say something, maybe he wouldn't have gotten the call. That's what I think. I don't
He
know.
got torched, and I know that I had, texted you guys earlier in the week that I thought I did see some good stuff out of him. The good things I did see out of him I did rewatch the game earlier today, the condensed version. A lot of the positive things that I was seeing was mostly just bad quarterback play.
Mm.
I did like, a couple deflections, and it looked like he was getting back and correcting some of his mistakes. But I think that was just Brian Hoyer underthrowing the ball, giving him time to do so. But yeah, Robinson is going to have a rough time this year if he's getting burned by, Nixon and Wilkins,
Yeah.
guys you never heard of on the Patriots.
Well, that's the problem. They were starting seconds and thirds from almost the onset. So you got your first playing against them, and they're looking mediocre to garbage. That's not a good sign. I want to touch on, I know we're still talking about defense, but I wanted to say before it got too late, they got to figure out the special teams. Coverage was garbage.
Oh,
Awful.
Joe Judge was on the other sideline just being like, oh, this is what you get for
Oh,
firing me.
because they were so
bad
much
special
better with
teams.
him.
But
Should've
anyway, back
they
to
shouldn't
defense.
have fired Joe Judge.
Yeah.
They should have just demoted him to special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
Could you
Fixed all these
imagine?
problems.
Wow.
They would
I
have
just
been
can't believe
running
he's
laps
pulling.
after that fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but all I know is when they showed his face, I was just like, oh, God.
Stupid face.
I don't want to see you again. I
Yeah.
hope that's the last time I have to see his face all
Yeah.
year.
Ugh.
It probably will be.
break.
See to my nightmares.
Yeah.
Colin.
Yeah.
I want to clear some space for you to talk about Darian Beavers.
Oh. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you for this.
I got you.
Because this was the one pick that I had coming into the draft that I was like,
Started this game.
this is the
Started
guy
this
that I
game.
wanted. I wanted to pick the guy. We ended up picking the guy.
Can you remind us how big he is, Colin?
How big he is?
Do you know his height and weight off the top?
He's like, what is he, like a 6'5", 230 kind of guy?
6'4", 250.
Oh, I forgot he was that much heavier. Wow.
Oh,
And he can
baby.
still cover.
Yeah.
He's like kind of the old school middle
Well, I don't know if he
linebacker
can
with-
cover, but
better than most guys at 250.
sure.
But yeah, he was in all when we do all the mock drafts from like January on, he was like in all of them. And I was pumped to see that we actually got him. And he was ripping it up. He was like blowing up blocks to make tackles, like
He had a good
Antonio Pierce
Yeah.
used to do
Yeah.
back in the day.
The Giants look like their tackling is just improved in general.
The coaching,
least
is
Yeah,
from what I
there's a
definitely,
saw.
lot less missed tackles.
yes.
Yeah, 100%.
and just like that gritty stuff.
Yeah, I also love that, like, I did notice quite a bit of zone blitzing. Kayvon Thibodeau was dropping into coverage, covering tight ends.
Well,
And I saw, big fat boy, number 94. I don't know his exact name.
That's his name, actually.
In the fourth quarter,
Big
dropping
fat boy.
down and making a tackle in space on like a running back in the flat, which Wink Martindale, man.
dude,
that mind.
he is like he might be my favorite personality on this team right now. Which, all right, funny. I had this conversation over the weekend. I don't know. I was at my mom's upstate, and we somehow got on the topic of the Giants, and I mentioned Wink Martindale, and one of my mom's friends was just like, the game show host? I'm like, wait a second. No.
Yeah. That's what
And I was like,
after.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. And I looked him up, and it was like this guy who was a game show host in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, that's who he's named after. From
Well, I
Family
didn't
Feud
realize
guy.
that.
He used to didn't he
Just
kiss all
because
the
his
women
last
on the
name
lips?
is Martindale.
No, that was Roger Moore. No, what was his name? The Family Feud guy who kissed all the women on the lips. This is creep.
Roger Moore's James Bond.
Yeah, Roger Moore's James Bond. No, it was something close to that. But no,
Oh.
Wink Martindale, yeah, he was like the host of all those game shows. back in
Yeah,
the day.
like some rando game shows. Some of them were just like bad. But anyway, love the guy. I think we needed a personality.
Richard Dawson, excuse me.
Oh,
Yeah.
not far off. When was the last time, even when we had Spagnuolo, that wasn't like a large outsized personality. I don't know if we've ever really had a defensive coordinator besides Bill Belichick that had like a very and even he didn't have a big personality. Like this is like
That one is here.
this is like a new age for the Giants in terms of having.
But I mean, do you think the personality is big in the locker room? But like publicly, is it a big personality?
well, he kind of has this for
It's
lack
not like
of better-
it's not like a Rex Ryan.
Can I
personality.
ask you a
Well, I was
question
just
too,
about
Colin?
to say what? Go ahead.
Does the lizard on the inside of Bill Belichick's human skin have a good personality?
He's like an alien lizard man. Yeah, you're right. That's totally what he is. What are we saying right now?
I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were talking about defense. But I do want to ask you guys, like,
Shout out to Drynxmyth.
Yeah, for real.
Drynxmyth,
Yeah, you know what?
baby.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's starting to hit right now.
I finished
mine.
Yeah.
Are you guys at all concerned with what you saw from the secondary? Because the pass rush did look better. They look better in the trenches, in my opinion. But the way Rink looks like he wants to run this D is that it's going to leave your secondary in an island. Aaron Robinson looks like he's going to need safety help over the top almost every single play. Are you guys worried at all about this defense? Adriana, what do you think? If they're not generating a consistent pass rush, do you think they can be successful?
I think it's going to be tough. I do think that I'm optimistic because there are guys that we have that didn't play. Like I think when Blake comes back, we didn't even see Leonard Williams. I think that a couple guys like that is going to make a big difference.
Points.
Aziz,
really good points.
I know I keep forgetting about Aziz.
Yeah.
So I think having those three guys back is going to make a big difference and is going to help out. I feel like I didn't see a lot from McKinney, and I'm expecting a lot from him this year. And I hope that, maybe he just didn't play a lot of snaps or whatever it is. But I definitely want to see him and Julian Love kind of pick it up this year and have a really good year.
Well,
Yeah,
we also
well,
have to cut down on these injuries that we keep hearing that are creeping up right now, and it's like a lot. They only had 10 full offensive linemen to play in practice yesterday or today or wherever it was, and it's just like I get it. It happens. Preseason training camp, like people are getting hurt, but it's the old, lead pipe drill again.
That's right.
That looks like it's creeping out, and I don't know if that's. I mean, you can't even predict it. Now, all the teams deal with it, but it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I think along the same lines as what Adriana was saying was, first off, it's one preseason game, but the feeling I get from this defense already, and hopefully we do get some assistance on the pass rush from those guys we just mentioned, but I can really see that three safety set becoming one of sort of the base packages there, just to cover up, the inadequacies of our
we saw that early. I think Love didn't start the game, but he was on the field the second play of the game.
I think it's going to be what we have
when
to
they were on
resort
defense
to quite a bit.
Yeah, that images or vapors of a Deion Grant just kind of coming back into play like we've talked about too. I mean, with that three safety set, I love that stuff. It's good. It's like almost like another linebacker out there, but that can cover.
Yeah.
I do think we are going to get Dane Belton back at some point, and he's someone who is having a pretty good camp, so he might have the opportunity to step in, and we can see what he can do too.
What was his injury?
Broken collarbone.
Oh, okay. He'll be fine then.
He didn't need surgery, so I think they said like 4 to 6 weeks or something.
No big deal.
Mix it with Andrew Adams and hopefully get like a 3-man rotation.
Which is
there.
weird that he's back, isn't it? It's strange.
I think that was a good get to get him back. I mean, I don't think he's going to blow anyone's mind, but he should be able to be serviceable, hopefully.
I mean, they don't have any money, so
you
just have to get what they can
Thanks,
get.
Dave.
Yeah. Kenny.
They did sign another corner today, who's
saw
young.
from
He's
the-
only 23.
Okay.
What's this guy's name?
So we'll see what he can do. It's Elijah.
It's from the Bills, I think, right?
Can you
Mhm.
imagine?
Wow, it was like the first thing that popped up the last time I looked this up, but of course not. Now it's
No.
not popping up.
Not
Anyway, anything else tonight, guys?
I want to shout out a new Dan Duggan album article. He basically
When
does
when did it drop?
I think it dropped today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the Athletic, so I guess there's that paywall. But he basically does like a day in the life of Evan Neal, and it's just cool to see. Like basically, he shadows what he does at a typical practice and get his how he looks and how he feels, and he talks to him.
What's he have for breakfast? Like a whole tree?
Yeah,
well,
he's a vegetarian.
He eats
Well,
breakfast
yeah.
at the complex.
It's 2 whole chickens in a tree.
Yeah. So I shout that out. It was cool to see something like that.
All right.
I
We'll
love
make
that.
sure
kind
we'll
of
check
stuff.
that out. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for listening tonight. Please don't forget to follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can download that DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN. Follow us, BBU Podboys with the Z on Twitter. That Drynxmyth is really doing its work on me right now. Oh boy. Don't forget to check out drynxmyth.com. DRYNXMYTH for those not watching on YouTube. And thanks again for Adriana to join us. You can follow her on Twitter, NYG Fangirl. Everyone have a good night. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.